My childhood was pretty special. I grew up in a place called the Ashdown Forest, which is where Pooh Bear and the whole of the Pooh Bear story, the A.A. Milne stories, was based. And yeah, we had like just a really country upbringing, lots of animals, lots of dogs, lots of just really happy, fun memories. I had a really lovely childhood. When I was a teenager, I was an absolute nightmare. I mean, I didn't like authority. I didn't really like being told what to do. I was constantly pushing back. I had this real energy about me. I just wanted to just do my own thing all the time. I did unfortunately get kicked out of my school, and then I went to another school, and then I got, in the end, asked to leave that school as well. But yeah, I was just really tricky. I was just naughty. But I was one of those kids that was stupid enough to get caught. I was 18 years old and I had just finished school. I'd had about a couple of months of being free from school. I'd gone away travelling with some friends and I was so excited about starting university and the next chapter of my life. And I went to a party to celebrate my A-level results. So we just collected the results that day and we were at this party, a group of friends, and we were going to celebrate my friend's birthday and the A-levels. Anyway, later that night after the party, I drove home with some friends. I was seat belted and I was sober, but I was really inexperienced at driving and I had only had my licence for about 6 months. And on the drive home, I crashed the car. I lost control of the steering and basically crashed the car. And the car rolled into a field, and in that impact of the crash, my eye socket was crushed, my skull was fractured, my jaws were dislocated, my nose was completely crushed, and my spine was damaged. So my spine was momentarily dislodged, and in that moment I was paralysed instantly from the chest down. I woke up from my injury about a week or so after the crash, and then was told to come to terms with the extent of the damage that I'd done. So, you know, they knew pretty early on that I was paralysed from the chest down. Then it was about how much I would regain. Would I regain any movement? Would I regain any feeling? Over the next few months when I was in rehabilitation, it obviously became apparent that I wasn't really going to regain anything. So my life completely changed from everything that I was dreaming of and everything that I was hoping for and the person I thought I was going to be, and all of that completely changed. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I was going to be paralysed from the chest down, and what all that meant. It's not just you're never going to walk again, which of course it was. There was much more to it than that as well. So I had a lot to deal with, and obviously I was going to be using a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So there was all of that to contend with as well. So everything changed. The impact that it had on my life was monumental. My mum definitely saved my life. When I had my injury, she came up to see me in hospital, and she just didn't leave my side. She, you know, I would wake up and see her sort of asleep on the floor by the hospital bed. She was always looking after me. She didn't leave me, and I think because of her training as a nurse, she knew exactly what I was dealing with. She had that medical background, and so she was such a strong support for me, and she protected me throughout all of my rehabilitation. And then as I kind of left hospital and moved back into the world, she was just there all the time to help me and give me the confidence that I needed and support me and just do whatever she could to make sure I felt I had the skills I needed to be independent again and to be myself again. And you know, it's been 18 years since my injury, but still she's there if I need her, if anything goes wrong, you know, whether that be something physically going wrong or just emotionally. She's just my rock, you know. She's the greatest friend. She's just the best. So this might sound a little bit strange to people, but I was paralysed on the 18th of August, and every year I celebrate that date and I sit with my friends and I give thanks and I reflect, and I usually end up having a big party, and I just celebrate that date as a marker of the day that I didn't die, of the day that I started this life afresh in a different body. I mean, it was the same body, but it was a completely different type of body to what I what I had been born with, in the sense, and I decided that that date would always be commemorated every year as a celebration, to just give thanks and be grateful and be, you know, make myself aware of all the things that I've gained, not that I've lost. So that's why every year is a huge date for me, bigger than my birthday. So I've just written this book called Driving Forwards, which I never intended to write a book. It was something I probably dreamed of when I was little, but I never thought it was actually going to happen. But I got this opportunity to write, and I took it, and I thought, I'm going to write about what happened to me. So what I did was write about the moment before my injury, but then what happened during, and the subsequent rehabilitation, and then talked about what I've done since, and all of the things that I've gone on to do. And it was an amazing thing to do, to write the story and to sort of document my life in that way, and to really explain to people what it's like to live with this disability and live in this world with this disability as well was amazing, very hard. My favourite thing in the world is to be able to just go on an adventure. I love it. I love the feeling of where are we going to go, what we're going to do. I can't get enough of it. And I have a Riker, which I'm completely and utterly obsessed with. It's my life, it's my favourite thing. It takes me to all sorts of places. It's my favourite thing to do. And so yeah, travelling, I've travelled a lot of the world with work or for fun, and it's hard as a wheelchair user to travel. I've been lucky enough that I've got friends around me that can enable me to do that and help me where I can't, and I've learned over the years of, you know, the way to travel and the gadgets I might need, or the things the ways in which I can travel have got to be adapted. But where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm always about travelling, yeah, non-stop. It's not been an easy journey to get to where I've got to. There've been a lot of barriers. I mean, aside from the barriers that are very obvious that a wheelchair user has to face every single day, just the simple barriers of just getting around, getting to work, even being able to work. There's so many things that can go wrong. Locations being inaccessible, getting to auditions, anything like that. Those are real barriers, physical barriers. There's also attitudinal barriers, you know, people assuming that you can't work and that you can't work well and that you can't be productive or you can't be any number of things. There's so many limiting beliefs around disability, and I've come up against all of them. So in the work I'm in, you don't see many disabled people. So I was part of the first wave of disabled presenters probably in the world. And so there's been a lot of, you know, it's been hard, but it's been so exciting to be part of. But yeah, I think the same barriers that exist for any woman who wants to work in television, I've had those too. So yeah, there's a lot up against it. But also I think because I've got a disability, it's my sort of USP, and that's opened doors for me in many ways, which I'm really grateful for. So yeah, there's pros and cons. I think my life motto has become the title of my book, which is Driving Forwards. So I got it tattooed onto my wrist in my dad's handwriting the other day. And I think that's my motto now. It's all about just constantly driving forwards, moving forwards, keeping going, never giving up, and never stopping. I would like to change people's perceptions of disability. That's what I would like to leave behind as a legacy. I'd love people to think differently about what it means to be disabled.